Hello, Aries. My name is Tanya, and I'm going to do a month ahead reading for you. This is going to be for March, in the beginning of spring. I'm going to pull an oracle card first this month, change it up a little bit, and then we'll get into the tarot cards. So let's see what your oracle card has. What is your theme? The hedge. I believe that's the top. So, what am I feeling from this card? The words we have are potential, boundaries, and indecision. And yes, my immediate thought when I saw the word hedge is that green hedge that sometimes you see people have around their yards in lieu of a fence. So it's decorative. It has maybe more privacy because it's hard to see through, or you cannot see through it, depending on how high or low you want to set it, which is all about your boundaries and assessing those boundaries to see if you need to modify or shift them, if they need sprucing up, if they need reinforcements, etc. So I do strongly feel a focus on boundaries for the month of March for you and some indecision on it. But I think the indecision comes from how do you want to make those changes and how do you want to communicate those changes about the boundaries or your boundaries, I should say. I mean, it's a little bit of can I keep the kids out of my yard without making it look obvious that I want to keep the kids out of my yard kind of energy, right? You want it to appear friendly and approachable, but at the same time, you don't want them cutting through your space. You don't want people making decisions about your life or that impact you without consulting you, is another way of putting that. Um, or another way that's percolating up. And I'm also seeing the scales here, the scales of justice, or just making sure things are balanced. So that's what these boundaries are about. Making sure there is balance between your needs and the needs of your community is what it's feeling like. So it's a fine balance there. So there could be, I mean, if you're literally thinking about putting up a fence or a privacy fence or something in order to protect your space, this could even deal with a specific room in your home or your desk space at work and setting up protections around it. Where was I going that with that? Yeah, it's going to be if you're in a community, I'm getting there. I was headed there and I get distracted sometimes, if you haven't noticed. Um, so if it's about putting a fence around your yard, are you allowed? Is there a neighborhood association? Are there community rules or expectations about what that might look like? About what materials you can use? Can you have a hedge? Is it required to be a certain type of thing? It's all of that, finding out all those details and really working within the boundaries of those rules in order to create something that you like and that gives you that sense of protection that you need in your space. Because you do like to have your privacy. It's just a matter of establishing how you can attain that my goodness, you can attain that privacy within the bounds of the community that you're with living in or working with. I hope that made sense. I kind of all stumbled through as I had so many things pushing through at the same time there. I'm even drawn to the borders on this card. So it looks very decorative and it does not appear like a strong boundary, but it definitely gives that impression. It sets the impression that you need to enter this way or enter and exit straight through rather than cutting across corners or going around. It's redirecting traffic, which is also, in a way, these boundaries may be about redirecting expectations too, especially if this has to do with the workplace. I'm liking these cards. I'm getting a lot of info off of them. Okay, let's get your tarot cards and see what those have. for Aries in March. Starting out here with the Three of Swords. And then we have the Chariot, the Wheel of Fortune, the Tower, and the King of Swords. So there is definitely some shaking up that's going on this month for you, Aries. Some shift, both voluntarily and involuntarily happening. This might be a stressful month, which doesn't seem like it should be, but there could be some things going on that are beyond your control, which can be very frustrating and aggravating. And that might be why you need to have these boundaries, this fence up, this private space where you have your control, where you can maintain your peace, if you will, within that area. And everybody needs to understand that you need that at this time. So we're starting out here with the Three of Swords. This is a card that indicates defeat, the feeling or sense of defeat, of heartbreak, of disappointment. And maybe it is literally about the rules that have to deal with putting up a fence or creating privacy around your home in your domicile. That's where most of my focus is drawn, is having to do with your home or your yard or your personal space. And it could be maybe they just don't allow any type of fencing. So now you have to think of that could be devastating if you're a really very private person. Now are you going to want to move? Is there anything else you can do? What are your other options? Can you put up a deck with a screen porch? What can you do in order to create this private space for you that is outside or is connected to nature? And you may find that there isn't much you can do because there's even going to be rules around how big that can be, what it needs to look like, etc. You may be drowning in a sea of rules and laws that you didn't anticipate with where you're at right now. And then we have the Chariot. Now, I like this Chariot because we have the snail on the top, right? Snails move slow. So if they were to change, once they choose a direction, it may take them a while to get there. Except that this snail was clever enough to get the assistance of this bird. So once they make a decision on which way they want to go, they're going. There's no, all right, let's go. Let's start making our way an inch at a time. There is a decision that you're going to need to make, or some area of your life where you're going to have to take charge and say, once you make up your mind, and you may be slow at making up that mind, making this decision, but once you make it, you're ready, you're done, you're over, you're ready to move on. And that could be literally moving to a place that allows you to have a fence, maybe moving to a place that already has one set up. But once that decision is made, then you're ready to go hire the realtor to sell your place or help you find a new place, etc. Once the decision's made, you're off. It goes into the Wheel of Fortune here. And this could happen quickly, this change, quicker than you expected. It could be that here at the end of February, you have decided or you've realized this and you're in this state at the beginning, I need to move. And now you're already out there looking for new places to go, especially if you're in an apartment or a townhome or a place where you're renting. You're already looking to see if there's anything out there that can meet your needs. You know now that you need to look deeply into what their requirements are as far as yard work or putting up outside shelters and things like that. But it feels more like moving a home. It's a homestead or a home with a yard, a physical yard or garden space. That's coming through too, where you can grow what you want to in it. Okay. But you have a decision to make. You're going to make it. And once you make it, you're going to be ready to take off and do it. The Wheel of Fortune is about change, is about going with that flow, the evolution of the wheel. Things are always moving, and you can be on the downside where it feels like it's moving quickly and easily and you're just going with the flow, or on the upside where it feels like it's chugging and it's going slower. It feels that way. but the wheel is always moving at the same speed, even though once you it's okay, it's about impatience is what I'm feeling for you. You have to have some patience with the process because yes, you have made the decision and you are ready to act on it, but now everybody that you need to engage with in order to make it happen are on their own schedule and have their own things going on. So there's going to be this sense of, okay, what do you mean you can't meet me today? I have to wait till tomorrow, or I have to wait till the weekend to go look at a place. That's going to be your frustration and where the impatience is going to come from, but you have to just move at the pace with which things are going here. So try not to be too impatient. Do your research, take the time to do that, and get everything ready. Start packing things, start doing things that are going to help you once you reach the final stage of transition. And then we have the Tower. Now, this is an abrupt, sudden change that tears one area of your life all the way down to the foundation. It tears it apart. You cannot rebuild it as it was. You can rebuild in this area, but it is not going to be the same as it was, and it should not, because the purpose of tearing this down, of the universe, of the divine saying, no, you cannot do this anymore, and we're taking away this option forever. You can rebuild, but it's something that's going to be better, stronger, and suit you. Something that can last you for a very, very long time, that is dependable and steady. Because right now, that's not where you're at. So maybe something happens with this situation. Perhaps the association happens to have another home come up over in this other area that happens to have a fence. I mean, the tower's not always a bad thing. It's moving things out of the way that are impeding you, that are impeding your growth and your progress. So it could be something like that. It's a serendipitous change rather than a tragic change or a unsettling change. There is still going to be some churning and some quick movement and some action needing to be taken here. Because if we're talking about a sudden move, they're saying, well, you can have this place over here if you can be out by next weekend. That means you got to move fast. You got to pack away stuff or throw away a lot of stuff that you don't want to take with you to the new place. But it's going to be unsettling and hurried and rushed and maybe even confusing at some points, getting everything converted over and so on and so forth. It is a disruption period. The ultimate goal is for it to be for this change to be positive. But while you're going through it, it's going to be chaotic. And then we're coming to the King of Swords. So maybe the overall theme here is to try to leverage the community that you're trying to work within that has all these rules to find out if there are any other options, any other alternatives, creative problem solving, if you will. The King of Swords, swords are an air element. We have that here. It's about communication. It's about knowledge. And what I'm feeling for you at this point with the King of Swords is King of the Castle. You know all the rules now. You know all the bylaws. You know what you can and can't do, what's acceptable, what's not, and what can be grandfathered or what has been grandfathered in. That could be key. Wow, I like that. If this is specifically what any of you have going on in March, please let me know because it feels very focused. King of Swords, right? They are the master. They're the top. It's a masculine energy. It's active energy. It's bold, right? They're not afraid to speak their mind, but they're very logical. They're not based on emotions here. Leveraging your knowledge to communicate very clearly what you need, what you expect, and making sure that the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted in any new contract that you sign. So if the place you're moving to happens to have a hedge around the property that's 6 feet tall and beautiful and well cared for, but it's part of the same association that you're coming from that says you can have nothing like that. You need to make sure that the paperwork that you're signing to move to that place includes that hedge as a grandfathered in benefit to that particular home, and that you can continue to maintain it, and it does not need to be removed ever, or at least for as long as you're there. Make sure that's part of the contract. But leverage your information to communicate your expectations. I like that. So a bit of a chaotic month, a bit of boundary angst, but in the end, it all works out the way that it should, in a positive way for you. Okay, Aries, that was a bit of a roller coaster. That's what I have for you for March. Please hit that like button and please hit subscribe to help me grow my channel. I'm hoping to get it to a place where I can do more of these videos because I do enjoy them. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you later.